Have you ever experienced erectile dysfunction in your life? Research has shown in America, about 40% to 70% of men have been impacted by ED at some point of their life. So what are some common mistakes that couples make to make ED worse? And what can we do about that to recover from it? Hello, I'm Dr. Yishan, a licensed clinical psychologist, sexologist, and board-certified sleep expert. Today, I invite my colleague, a licensed sex therapist, Dr. Heather England, to share with us how to understand ED and how to recover from it.
I'm wondering if it would be helpful for me to just list out some common mistakes that people make when they have ED. Partners oftentimes will personalize the ED. They'll make it be about them. So they'll think, oh, I'm not sexy enough. I'm not attractive enough. They're not attracted to me. They may think their partner's having an affair. They attribute all of these false things to what's going on with the ED. So that's one mistake. Another mistake is couples don't talk about it. So if the partner is sitting there with all of these false beliefs and they're getting upset and resentful, and they may say some very mean things to their partner in the process, if they're not talking it through, they set themselves up to really disconnect in the relationship and for it to become a bigger problem than it needs to be. So that's a big mistake couples make. They don't team up together and attack this as a team problem, something. They make it be the man's problem, not a couple problem or a relationship problem. Another big mistake they make is that men they avoid sex. So they will stop having any kind of intimate behavior, and it'll go beyond just sex. They may stop doing anything that might lead to sex. So if going on a date with their partner, going out to eat or having a romantic night out might have in the past led to sex, they may start to even avoid that. They also avoid a lot of physical touch. So not only do they avoid sex, they avoid physical touch, which leaves their partner touch deprived. It leaves them feeling that they're unloved, right? And it causes the couple to kind of disconnect from one another. So that's some of the big mistakes. Another big mistake they make is they think the pills are going to fix everything. So they may take a pill and they think it's going to be magic, but the pill, it's not going to always make you get an erection. You're still going to need stimulation to have an erection.
First,
Yes.
ourselves, there's a lot of things we could do and we need to adjust, and also do not run away from the problem.
Exactly. And there's a big mindset mistake that couples make about erectile dysfunction, and that is that they define sex as intercourse, and that's what sex is to them. So then sex becomes pass-fail. Okay, so if you can't get hard enough to have intercourse, then you technically have failed, if that's your logic.
I heard that a lot. I treat Asian populations more. A lot of Asians really use men's, erection and ejaculation as a way to measure, is the sex start yet? Or is that end yet?
Yes, one of the things I try to have all of my clients do is redefine sex away from intercourse. To redefine sex as anything that's pleasurable, that feels good, and that is connecting, that makes you feel closer to your partner. So if you broaden your definition of sex, even if you have erectile dysfunction during a sexual encounter, you can still have a very successful and enjoyable sexual encounter.
Can you please walk us through very briefly, like when people have ED, when should they consider, say, a doctor, like physician, or when do they need to see a sex therapist like you? What are the resources available? What are the steps to seek help?
I think in general, when someone has erectile dysfunction, it's really important for them to share that with their doctor, just in case there's a medical cause that they're not aware of. Even if there is a medical reason, you want to understand how, as a couple, you can work together to make sure that you are tackling this as a couple's problem so that there's not the level of shame. When you don't talk about something, the shame grows. Okay, so if you don't feel alone in it, if you feel like your partner's with you every step of the way, then you can talk about sex. You can start talking about, okay, how do we redefine sex in our relationship? What else can we do besides intercourse that would be enjoyable to both of us? Both people in the relationship need to understand what turns them on and what turns them off and communicate that with one another and set up a context for successful sex. So you want to set up the environment, you want to set everything up so that a sexual encounter is going to be successful. So I try to walk couples through that process. And then I try to help them with what they need to do to plan a successful sexual encounter together. Okay. And then, we explore the myths to make sure that they have these incorrect ideas about sex and belief systems about their body and how they're supposed to be able to perform. And then we really hit the anxiety piece because, almost every person has anxiety when they have erectile dysfunction. And so I try to help them to learn how to take down that baseline anxiety, start using mindfulness skills, and to figure out what to do in the moment if they have erectile dysfunction so they don't completely fall apart. And a lot of couples find they're able to develop this kind of flexible lovemaking where they might start thinking they're going to do the one thing, right? Like, we're going to go have chicken on the buffet, meaning intercourse, right? But then it's not working. So they say, well, let's do this instead. And it ends up still being a really positive experience for them. So the course that I have that you referenced, Take Charge of Your ED, it teaches individuals and couples how to manage ED and how to take charge of it so that they are actually in charge of the ED, not the ED in charge of them. For many people who anxiety is a big cause for them, when they start to really learn about ED and understand they're not failures, they're not less of a man, it's something that happens. So if it's a normal thing that happens periodically, then it won't bring you down. Okay, it won't make you freak out about having ED. You'll just be able to let it go and maybe brush it off. And then you'll be able to move on and do something else that's really good. And a lot of people find the erection will come back. If enough stimulation for long enough at the right places, your erection should come back.
If you ever experienced ED and you coped with it somehow, leave me a comment down below. Let me know, what did you do? If you want to learn more about Dr. England's ED course, you can find the information down below in the description box. I'm Dr. Yishan, so happy to have you with me today. Love yourself, you are special. I'll see you next time. Bye!